Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the delay tonight. We had a wild storm ripping through Tampa, and it literally jostled the studio. We needed to reset everything. I know we were a few minutes late going live. I'm very glad that you stuck around because this is a doozy. Joe Biden has not just been a little late. We were about 15 minutes late to our live tonight. Joe Biden is like a month late. When was the last time you saw Joe Biden, like, at all? Well, you probably aren't looking for Joe Biden, but we certainly are. That's our job. And we looked for Joe Biden, and we were like, where the hell is he? Like, where's Joe Biden? And here's the straight dish, okay? Here's the straight sauce. Joe Biden, 2 weeks on vacation in South Carolina, Kishinenosha Island. He was staying in a $40 million mansion some donor gave him. Don't know how that's legal. Then Joe Biden did 1 week in the basement. Joe Biden in the basement in Delaware. See ya. And then he did another week in his house in Rehoboth, which has a wall around it. I've actually been to this house, not like I was invited, but I drove up to it, found the address, drove over there, and yeah, sure is a big old wall Joe Biden has in front of his house. Very fancy. It's got little electronics on it, got cameras and everything. Biden's has a wall in his house. Joe Biden's been on vacation for 4 weeks. 4 weeks. He's been in the crypt, and then he finally today, after 4 weeks and getting COVID like 15 times, Joe Biden also got COVID again, reinfected again with COVID. After getting COVID like 40,000 times, Joe Biden finally crawled out of the crypt today, apparently COVID-free, and the first thing he does after taking off his mask is to hack and cough into his hand. This is the first thing he does after taking off his mask, after recovering from COVID and having a month off to do whatever he does in there. Hang upside down, let the spider webs grow out of his nose. This is what Joe Biden does. Takes off his mask and just hacks into it. Sickening.
Hey, folks. Well, good afternoon.
He's so disgusting. He's such a sick man. It's a sickly man. This is Joe Biden, man. He is truly a sick puppy. And we mean that. So what's the point really of like getting Biden off for like 4 weeks and having him do all this R&R and rest and relaxation while the FBI goes and raids Trump if he doesn't look any better? He looks worse than he's ever looked. The guy had open sores on his face, like a diseased nose. I'm not trying to be mean here. We zoomed in. Our friend Carly Bonet zoomed in and filmed this. You can see this open pustule on his face, his yellow-orange teeth, the dandruff in his hair, the baggy eyes. His eyes are like that giant bloodshot. Remember Robot Biden? Look at this sickening close-up of Joe Biden today.
Many of whom are community college students.
He's bloodshot.
After 10 years. These changes will save.
He's not well. They got him hopped up on something.
It's a game changer.
This is not a well person.
This has been the bane of driving me crazy when I was out of office. The Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program.
Yo! So Joe Biden didn't look good. You can see there he has this giant open sore on his nose. Now, that's the sickness of Joe Biden leaving the crypt. He's probably got spiders and little rats running around inside of him. He's a skeleton, right? And all the little things. Weekend at Bernie's. But what's going on in Joe Biden's noggin? Okay, that's what's going on inside of Joe Biden's skeleton. What's up in his brain? What does Joe Biden got to say? What's coming out of his mouth? What was Joe Biden doing today? Well, he was canceling $10,000 worth of student loans for people who make $125,000 or less. So essentially, he was giving a handout to the rich on behalf of the poor. Because regular people, like where I grew up, work on farms. They go to trade schools. They like work with their hands. They lift heavy stuff up and put it down. They make things. The people who go to college and accrue hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loans, those are the rich kids. Those are the dumb kids. Those are the liberal kids. And so this is just a giant handout from the poor to the rich. He's forgiving these loans for no reason whatsoever other than he's losing. And he's getting his ass beat in the midterms. And it looks like Joe Biden's getting beat up in the head parts of his brain because he didn't make any sense today. This should be a slam dunk. This is just a layup. Hey, here you go, AOC. Please vote for me. And all of you, you're like, please tell everyone on Instagram to vote for me. This is what Joe Biden sounded like today.
So my message to all servants, all public servants, all those who are the ones that are volunteering, is out with student debt to go. Here's what you want. If you're worried about how to do it, go to pslf.gov.
It's like, so Joe, go to Joe 3.0300. Joe Biden not making any sense, telling these rambly ass stories, not able to like hold thoughts together in his brain. Are you ready? This is the worst one. We went and found, like, what's the worst clip? Man, here's 60 seconds of Joe Biden making literally zero sense. And it gets actually worse because then Peter Doocy comes down and asks Joe Biden a doozy about the FBI raid. Incredible stuff. Hold on. You're gonna need a Xanax for this one. Joe Biden trying to make a point, thinking that he's some type of great orator. This is Joe Biden attempting to say something about the forgiving of student loans. I mean, what if you had just paid off your student loans this year? What if you just paid them off? My wife had student loans. We paid those off. Your boy Benny went to community college. We're pretty furious about this in the Johnson household. Watch Joe Biden make his brain into a bowl of oatmeal.
Employees, we provided assistance to people to put food on the table. Remember those long lines you guys would all film of cars, decent looking cars, not jalopies, nice cars, just waiting for a box of food to be put in the trunk in the United States of America, waiting for over an hour to get food in a trunk. And we provided rent and mortgage assistance to keep people from being evicted and thrown out in the street. Our approach to help Americans who need it the most was necessary, and it was the right thing to do, and it helped people avoid financial crisis, which helped our whole country as a consequence of that. That didn't benefit them, it benefited the whole economy. Our approach is why America's economic recovery was faster and stronger than any other advanced nation in the world. Now it's time to address the burden of student debt in the same way. Working closely with the Secretary of Education, he's got the hard job, Secretary Cardona. Here's what my administration is going to do to provide more breathing room for people so they have less burdened by student debt. And quite frankly, to fix the system itself, which when we came in, we both acknowledged was broken in terms of, anyway. There are three key factors what we're going to do today. First, we've made incredible progress advancing America's economic recovery. We've wound.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is the clip done? Oh, okay, great. Is the clip done, ALX? Danny? Clip's done? Oh, okay, good. That's important. I'm sorry. I was like asleep. I was in a coma. I couldn't believe I was listening to this guy, like sitting there. You see this education secretary standing there? Secretary Cardona is like looking like he's inside of an ISIS hostage video. He's like, oh, please, oh, God, please, whatever you do, like, take me away from here. I'll go anywhere. I'll do anything. You can, I can recreate into a beetle or something. You could, I could come back, right, as a centipede, whatever it is, just to get me out of here. The guy, like Joe Biden, sitting there, like, rambling on about people putting food in their trunks, and not, it just doesn't make any sense. Also, Joe Biden forgiving this debt doesn't make any sense. I mean, legitimately, do you have a mortgage? Are you going to have that debt forgiven? I'll tell you what, you paying a mortgage is more value to the American economy than the student loans that these dumbass kids took out. And Joe Biden was asked about this actually on his way out. Joe Biden was asked about this. We'll get to the Peter Doocy question next clip. But this, since we're on the topic of student loans, since Joe Biden was trying to like make his point there's some rambling, esoteric, nonsense, noodle brain, microwave skull, like drooly crypt keeper jargon. here's a reporter actually doing a good job asking Joe Biden, hey, what about the people who paid off their student loans? Shouldn't they matter? Why would you insult them by suddenly forgiving all this student loan debt? And by the way, he also extended the payments on student loans another 4 months. Just enough time to get them past the midterms. Just enough time to get them past the midterms. The bribery is disgusting. Anyway, listen to Joe Biden's response here. We mean it when we say that this is his worst response. This is the worst one. Peter Doocy clip's really bad. This is the worst clip I'm about to play you. Joe Biden's response to, what an insult to everyone else who paid off their student loans or didn't get student loans and went and got a, career working with their hands and their brain, who weren't privileged enough, who weren't pampered enough to go get a student loan at some Ivy League school. What about those people? The reporter asks, listen to this answer. Truly. Tune in. Listen to what Joe Biden had to say here. It's the most devastating clip of the whole day.
President, is this unfair to people who paid their student loans or chose not to take out loans?
Is it fair to people who, in fact, do not own multi-billion-dollar businesses to see why these guys give them all a tax breaks? Is that fair? What do you think?
What about people who paid their loans, though, struggle to pay their loans, and now others don't have to?
Is it... Okay, so Biden's asked, is it fair to people who paid off their loans to start forgiving a bunch of money? And Joe Biden goes, is it fair to... because it's a billion-dollar business? Huh? What did you think, Jack? Did you bad the fruit? When I was at the foothills of Himalayas with Xi Jinping, I said America's a poopy pants. It's a poop my pants. This is like what Joe Biden said there. That's we'll transcribe it for the morning show. We'll do follow the bouncing ball. But this is what Joe Biden said. What do you think about poopy pants? What do you think about a billionaire? Peter Doocy said, hey, Jack, what did you know about the FBI raiding Donald Trump? And here is the answer that will get Joe Biden impeached. Get a load.
Mr. President, how much advance notice did you have of the FBI's plan to search Mar-a-Lago?
I didn't have any advance notice. None. Zero. Not one single bit. Thank you.
Mr. President, is this unfair to people who paid their student loans or chose not to take out loans?
Is it fair to people who, in fact, do not own multi-billion-dollar businesses to see why these guys give them all a tax breaks? Is that fair? What do you think?
What about people who paid their loans, though, struggle to pay their loans, and now others don't have to?
You can even hear the reporters there going, what was that? What the hell was that about? What's going on? Oh, what a disaster. So the Crypt Keeper back up from the crypt. He mumbled, he hacked, he coughed, he screamed at reporters. He didn't have anything to say. He was pure tapioca brain, absolute pudding brain stuff, oatmeal. It was disgusting. He had open sores on his face. He had his eyes all zonked out, right? These orange and red eyes. What do they got this guy on? What kind of pills, what kind of drugs they got this guy on? It's totally crazy. Man, we need to see how many times he blinked in that video. My wife is a medical professional. She's a nurse, and she's like, when Joe Biden's not blinking, that means they have him on some type of neurological stimulant. Because blinking is inside of your brain. You can't not blink. It's not possible. It's like breathing. You have to actively try to not do it. It's like stopping your heart from beating. You can't do it. You can't do it. So you got to actually mess with the brain chemistry. And so when Joe Biden stands there and is like, come on, man. Like, that's not normal. It's not normal. They're messing with his brain, man. They're like frying his brain like an egg. That's what's happening with this guy. And they want to run him in 24. And they think they're winning. They actually think they're winning now. But you can see, and as we'll cover in the morning, you can see in that clip, they're not winning. Joe Biden's running scared. That was a scary time for Joe Biden. He was upset about that question. He was upset that he's being asked that by Peter Doocy. And the entire White House is in total collapse. And they know they don't got their guy. Joe Biden is back after 4 weeks of vacation. And, man, he pulled an Amber Heard in the bed. It just wasn't pretty. It's pretty gross. Pretty bad. And the guy ain't there. He's not there. So we'll see. We'll cover a lot of this in the morning. We'll have some breaking news on Hunter Biden and on the Trump raid. We will see you then on the Benny Show. Enjoy this report from inside the crypt.